Just one last area we might want to think about, and that's how we support our schools. The National Plan does suggest that we should be supporting and challenging our schools. So how do we go about it? Now, we need to be very clear that the ultimate responsibility for data and its collection and use does lie with the schools. But I think we can help them, and there are some areas where we ought to be involved. This obviously particularly applies in primary schools when we're delivering first access programmes, especially when those programmes last over a whole year, because clearly we should then be talking with the schools and working with them to consider the rates of progress of children across that year and what standards they're reaching. So probably the most important thing is to make sure, again, that the learning is clear. Have we got a very clear programme of learning? Are the members of staff from the school, whoever they are, who should be in those sessions with our staff, are they able to understand what that learning is and in collaboration with the session leader to make little notes about the student's progress against that learning? It can be a very simple system. Oh, well done, Jonathan, you did really well with that rhythm. So whoever's got the clip chart can just jot down the key point of learning for this session was about rhythm, tick. Equally, a comment about you might need to work harder on that can easily be picked up by whoever else is in the room. So over time, that chart gets developed and the school then has a record of the progress that those students are making. Clearly, how the hub as a whole collects information on what could be, in Hampshire, 15,000 students is hard. But for whole classes, certainly, the teachers involved may well be wanting to ask for copies of those sheets at the end of the year so that they can do their own brief analysis of that data and evidence. In secondary schools, it's a little bit different again. The amount of data that is already available to those schools will be much wider and stronger. So there will be Key Stage 3 levels in many schools. You'd want to be sure that that's been moderated against the Exemplification of Standards website so that that data is robust. But definitely at Key Stage 4, schools will have data on a range of musical factors. So what's the take-up for GCSE and BTEC courses in the school? What are the actual A star to C rates for the examinations that they take, or is it pass, merit and distinction if they're taking BTECs? What are the average points score? And a particular term that I find most useful when working with secondary departments, the residual score. That is, how well the students did in music compared with how well they did in other subjects. That can be a really strong indicator of the quality of progress and the learning that the students are making in the subject across their Key Stage 4 programmes. Now, as I said, schools will have that data, so we can certainly be asking for it so that we can support them and say, well, is that good? Is that not so good? How can we help you improve it? But you should also somewhere in your authority find somebody centrally who's got the data for all the schools. It does take time to number crunch it, but it is quite possible to then start producing information like this, which can be shared with the schools. This provides the information for Hampshire for the last 3 or 4 years for all the GCSE and BTEC results and gives schools the benchmark data they need to get a good sense of whether their Key Stage 4 progress and learning is good, outstanding, or maybe needs some work and support. So the school data is there. We can work with schools on improving it and certainly then on asking them for the support they may be needing from us to make the standards even higher and the progress even better.